So this morning I put in an Instagram story asking you guys what you wanted to see for the next vlog. The options were what time of the day to shoot, which we will go into that in a later vlog, but I wanted the winner. We're gonna go with the winner today. So you guys picked this, so if you don't like it, that's your fault. You got no one to blame but yourself unless you didn't vote, then I guess blame the other people. In any case, on today's vlog, what we're gonna get into is the misconceptions that people have when they get into photography. So what I did is I took basically a poll with a bunch of my friends and I asked them, hey, when you were getting into photography or as you got into photography more and more, what did you start seeing that made you think, oh wait, I used to think this about photography and now it looks like this to me. And for myself, I've been shooting for about 13 years now, so there's a lot of things that have, in some things like I used to think and now I think differently because of the experiences that I've had. So some of those things are things that I learned along the way. The first misconception I want to get into is everybody is a photographer. I have been hearing this since 2006. Honestly, are there more photographers now than there were in 2006? Absolutely. There were more photographers then than there were in 1996, and there were more photographers then than there were in 1986. We can keep going back until the beginning of time. So using that as your crutch or your excuse to not get into photography is, in my opinion, it's a cop-out. Yes, there are more photographers. Yes, there are better cameras out there that didn't exist 10 years ago, 5 years ago, whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, honestly, who cares if there's a lot of photographers in the field? Do it because you enjoy it. If you are gonna do it because you think that this is a good source of income, it might give you a rude awakening, because although you can make a decent living doing photography, just like any other job, it takes a lot of work and a lot of dedication. So don't worry that there's 30 photographers within a 1 mile radius. Instead of focusing on they are my competition, focus on how can we help each other to elevate one another. There is plenty of work out there. There's 7 billion people in the world or more. If you just get a small percent of a population of wherever you live, you're gonna be completely fine. Not only that, if I send work to one of my friends, Gary, we communicate periodically throughout the year. If I ever need a second shooter, I know I can count on him. If he ever needs a second shooter, he knows he can count on me or anybody on the team. So instead of looking at him like competition, I look at him as a colleague, and I look at, okay, if I can't take on this client, but I know that I want to recommend him or recommend them to someone that I know is going to take care of them, Gary, here you go, or Sarah, or anybody. Like, there are a ton of people that I know that I'd rather recommend them than let this client go, and who knows what they're going to find. So don't let your lack of perspective mess up a good thing. There are a lot of photographers out there. You could be one of the successful ones. Going off of how much work it takes to be a photographer, I think that one of the misconceptions that it's a saying, yeah, I'm sure you've heard this before. If you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. And although I can say from the bottom of my heart that every single day I wake up and I get to come and shoot, or I get to come and edit, or I get to go to the gym and I don't have a boss yelling at me like, hey, you gotta show up at this time, that is a freaking blessing. But at the same time, I don't think people see being here at the studio until 11 o'clock at night. Throwing in an extra 15 minutes at a wedding because parent dances are about to happen. And I mean, I'm not gonna leave when that's about to happen. Like, that's an important portion. If you do something you love, the quote doesn't really hold up, because it's the complete opposite, because you're gonna work harder because you care, because it's something that you enjoy doing and something you put pride in. So I'm gonna work harder for somebody that appreciates our work because they chose us. So because I get to do what I enjoy doing, and so do the rest of the guys, we're gonna work harder because of that reason. And something else is, people think that photography is a glamorous job. That kind of goes along with it. And it isn't really. I mean, in perspective, it is. So when I used to work with my dad in construction back in New York, I only did it for like 4 months. It was like a thing while I was in college, because my dad's a construction worker. When I was doing that, yeah, that was work. When you wake up at 6:30 in the morning, you work until 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and you go home and you're dusty and you have a mask that gives you these lines right here for the rest of the day, and it's full of dust, that's work. So photography is a glamorous job in the sense that you can dress nicely, you're not gonna be, you're not gonna risk your health, you're not gonna risk your limbs. I actually have, if you can see, this finger is actually a little jacked up. That comes from this one time I was working construction and this motor basically fell on it. So whenever I'm shooting and I feel any sort of like, this is tough, I look at my finger and I go, things could be a lot worse. You were getting paid 1/10 what you're getting paid and it hurt you. So photography, yes, it's not a glamorous job because you're working your ass off and you're sweating, but come on now, let's put it in perspective. Another misconception that we hear is you have to have the best gear to be the best photographer. And if you've talked to me for 30 seconds, you know that there is nothing that I believe less than that. I believe that lighting, composition, capturing the moment is way more important than the latest piece of glass that you got. I don't care how beautiful the bokeh is, and if you don't know what bokeh is, don't worry, only the nerds do anyway. Back blur. So I don't care how beautiful the back blur is in a photo. If there is no emotion and you didn't capture anything, I mean, you could take a photo of a piece of paper and it's gonna have the same emotion or the same result. So you don't need the best piece of gear, you need to just get out there and shoot. So this goes off on the previous vlog, which I'll link below, where I talked about getting used gear, get whatever's in your budget. As long as you're out there using it, that's what matters. Don't worry about the camera. You'll know when you need the better camera if you ever end up needing it anyway. This is a good one. I need to go to school for photography to be a photographer. That one I almost want to laugh at. The reason I almost want to laugh at that statement is because I went to school for photography. I'm not going to mention what school. The school was fine, but I didn't learn a damn thing. Like literally, I went there and I remember the day they told us we're going to learn how to shoot with off-camera lighting today. And I think I looked at my friend Katie and went, I don't think I'm coming back, because I had been shooting with off-camera lighting for the last 2 or 3 years before that. And I'm like, I'm not gonna wait for a teacher to teach me something that I wanna learn. So for me, it was more, I wanna get out there and learn. I wanna get out there and see what I can do differently, see what I can do that's creative. If you wanna take my opinion on this, I would say assist somebody that knows what they're doing. Assist somebody that enjoys what they're doing. And that second part, I can't stress enough. There are so many photographers out there who love what they do and they love to teach somebody else and they have a very positive outlook. Go with those people. There were some photographers that I met through the years who I could tell just showed up to make a paycheck. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I always looked at it as, especially when I was starting out, I was like, dude, go home. Let me do this job because I want to have fun doing this. But going back to the original point, as far as school goes, school's not going to teach you to do a damn thing if you don't want to do it. So get out there and try it out, mess up a little bit, get with your friends, go out and shoot. Back to the first point, why don't you get, since the market is so saturated anyway, why don't you go and get a bunch of your friends or a bunch of people that like to shoot and go out and experiment and play around. You're all going to become better photographers because of it. And school isn't going to do that. I'm sorry, school's gonna give you assignments and homework and grades. I don't know about you, but that's no fun to me. Another misconception is that you need a cool location in order to get cool photos. And I could not disagree more with that. Because if you understand lighting, if you understand composition, if you understand framing, that's gonna take you a lot further than a cool location. A lot of the times what we look for is where can we find the most plain background so there won't be any obstructions in the background or in the foreground or anywhere. In a couple of weeks, we're gonna do a challenge around the studio to do headshots, basically in a parking structure. So we're gonna come to the studio and we're gonna go around and see where we can do headshots that's basically in a parking lot. And the last and final one for now, I know we can go on forever. I mean, we could probably do a half-an-hour vlog on this, but the last one that I want to go over today is you should never shoot for free. And I know that this one's a little controversial with photographers just because some photographers are so adamant about, I will not shoot for free. Okay, well anyway, there are some jobs that I've shot for free. I mean, like I said, I've been shooting for a long time, and to this day, if I want to shoot for free, I'll gladly do it. If somebody emails me and says, can you shoot this for free? The New Yorker in me will probably come on and tell them to go fuck themselves. The reason for that is you would never go to a restaurant and go, hey, can I eat for free? I don't think that's gonna go over too well. So why would you do that to somebody else? There's another vlog that I'm gonna talk about that. There's a certain story that I really, really wanna get into, but that one's a little intense. We'll talk about it later. But I remember 12 years ago, something like that. We used to shoot my friend's BMW on the highway, and we used to do rolling shots and panning shots and these cool like action shots. And we did it just for fun, just to practice, enjoying whatever. And he told me, hey man, like this one guy from the BMW forums wants to do a photo shoot with his car, and he says he's willing to pay $350. I was 21 years old or 23 years old, and I'm like, yeah, of course, absolutely. I mean, we've been doing this anyway, so let's do it. So we set it up, we did the shoot, and client was super happy. This was my first paid job. I had never gotten paid for photography until this point, and it all came from doing free shoots for fun with my friends in order to practice, so when I was getting paid, the client would already be happy. That's one example. That was just practicing more than doing a shoot for free. Another example I have is a few months ago, I was living in my old apartment, and one of my really good friends, Warren, who is a personal trainer and has an amazing Australian accent and a cool ass dog, I became friends with him. So one day he contacted me. It was like I think it was like a Sunday, and I was in my apartment editing, and he sent me a text, hey dude, like my girlfriend and her sister are doing a photo shoot for their personal training website, and the photographer just bailed on them last minute. Now, if there's one thing that really pisses me off, is unprofessionalism. You know that these girls got their hair done, they got their makeup done, they got a spray tan, they got, you know, everything, they got ready, they probably bought new outfits for this. So we're talking about a fairly big production, and you're gonna bail on them an hour before the shoot? So I was like, dude, I'll be right down, let's go do this. In my head, I wasn't thinking, oh, I hope I get paid for this. I was going, let's do this because I'm not gonna let some douchebag who bailed on you guys mess all this up. Let's go and let's get this taken care of. I always have my equipment charged, pretty much, so everything was ready to go. I just grabbed everything and went. We did the shoot, and we got some really cool shots around the gym that we were shooting at. We had fun. We hung out with Warren's dog. It was just a nice time, and it was getting good photos for my friend and for his girlfriend and her sister. At the end of it, they come over to me and they gave me a payment, and I go, nah guys, like I did this because I felt like I wanted to help you guys out. They're like, no, take it. Like, you know, we were going to pay the other photographer, so it's only fair. But to me, I wasn't thinking, let me do this so I can get paid. Let me do this because I want to help my friend out. It's very different in that situation than somebody hitting me up and asking for free stuff just for no reason. And I've never had a relationship with you. If I'm your friend, ask me, dude. Like, I mean, the worst I can say is no. So to answer the misconception is, you know, you should never shoot for free. I don't think it's that simple. I think that if you feel good about shooting for free, or if you know that this family doesn't really have a lot of disposable income, but they've been nothing but good to you, and they've been supportive to you, and they've been sending their friends your work and pushing you and all that, you'd be a real asshole to feel like you really got a profit off of this situation. Why not take care of the people that take care of you? If you scroll through our feed or Instagram or our website, there are a few jobs on there that were not paid for, and that's because I chose that this person is something special in my life, and I want to help them out because I know that they would help me out in any way that they could. And that's all the misconceptions that I'm going to go into for now. If there are any that you guys think we should cover, go for it. Maybe we could do a part 2. If you have any suggestions for future vlogs or questions, I'd love to answer them. As you can see, we did a slightly different setup today. The reason for that is I wanted to have something that I could set up really quickly and that I can do more of these, basically. So leave a comment below. Let me know if you guys want to see anything, what you liked, what you didn't like, what you want to see in the future, and if we miss anything. And if you made it to the end, thank you for watching.